What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to go over how to get started using jigs and bucktails without losing all of them in the process. I remember I first found interest in this style of fishing very early on. I'd go to the jetty, be throwing poppers and lures like that, lures I was familiar with, and then I'd see this guy bucktailing, catching fish like every other cast while I wasn't catching anything, and I would wonder why that is. So I'd buy a couple of bucktails, toss them out there, and lose them in 5 minutes. And that tends to be how it goes early on, and that's very frustrating. So in this video, I'm going to go over a way that you can familiarize yourself with this kind of lure, get some experience, and then perhaps go back to that location that you've seen other guys catching at very consistently, and at least go with some experience before you just throw your lures away like I did. So let's break up the two situations. First off, the situations I would see guys catching very consistently with bucktails obviously had some structure to them. There's rocks on the bottom, there's perhaps a reef on the bottom that they would swim these bucktails over and around, and the bass would come up out of there, take it, and they just pluck fish off the bottom. Great place to fish them. You do want to be throwing your bucktails in structure. But if you've never used them before, let's get you some experience with them first before we head on over there. So my recommendation would be to perhaps get some lighter versions, like lighter bucktails, or maybe even something like a zoom fluke on a 1/4 ounce jig head. And you're going to want to take those either to a sand beach or a salt marsh that has a sandy bottom on the outflow. And this is where we're going to familiarize ourselves, because sand is very forgiving when it comes to fishing the bottom. Not a whole lot to get stuck on. So there you're going to practice the cast and retrieve. You're going to learn to feel the lure sinking, tapping the bottom, bounce it up on the light tackle, slowly reel it in. On the sand beaches, you might hook a flounder or two, which is a lot of fun. You might find a bass or two as you're learning to work the area. Bucktails certainly are very effective on sandy beaches once you learn the structure, but it's also a great place to learn how to use them without losing all of them in the process. And then once you've done your time learning how to use the lure in these safer situations, you can then, in most cases, you're going to have to scale up your tackle a little bit to fish the larger outflows, such as, you know, the Cape Cod Canal, or even something smaller than that, that has a lot of structure on the bottom. Also, with the intense currents in these areas, you're going to need a rod with more backbone to pull the fish out, because if you don't lose your lure on the bottom, you still got to get the fish out of there before he snacks you on the bottom. So once you become familiarized with using these lures in these safer locations, then you can head back to the other locations, and now that you know how to use the lure and feel the bottom with it, you can start to figure out where the structure is. And then, as I mentioned in my previous video, in your fishing journal, you're going to pay attention to where you get snagged, and you're going to take a mental note of what structure is where. Also, as you're learning that structure, you'll learn how to swim the lure around it, and that's certainly going to get you some fish, because as we all know, they hang out around the structure. So that's it guys, a little cheat way to get used to using these lures and gain some experience before you take them into the harsher environments. Comment below and let me know how this approach worked for you. Subscribe for more videos like these, and I'll catch you in the next one.